What happens when a tweet lands you in prison? Inside the nightmare of Lucy Connelly. What if a single tweet could destroy your life, not just your reputation, but your very freedom? Imagine typing out 280 characters in a moment of anger or grief, and before you know it, you're staring at concrete walls, bruises blooming across your arms, and a justice system that seems more interested in making an example of you than in serving justice. Sound far-fetched? Not in 2024 Britain. Welcome to the case of Lucy Connelly, a story that's equal parts scandal, tragedy, and warning for anyone who thinks it could never happen to me. Lucy Connelly wasn't a celebrity or a seasoned political agitator. She was a former childminder, someone you might trust with your own kids. But in the aftermath of the Southport murders, Lucy posted a tweet calling for mass deportation. Was it inflammatory? Absolutely. Was it criminal? That's where the story takes a sharp, stomach-turning turn. For this single tweet, Lucy Connelly was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. 2.5 years. Not for violence, not for inciting a riot, but for words written in the heat of a national tragedy. Legal experts are left scratching their heads. Barrister James Bogle summed up the outrage. Perpetrators of actual violent disorder get lighter sentences than someone who got emotional on Twitter. If that doesn't make you pause, it should. But Lucy's story doesn't end with sentencing. In fact, that's just the beginning of her nightmare. Richard Tice, leader of Reform UK, recently visited Lucy at HMP Pitborough and emerged with a story that should make anyone's blood boil. According to Tice, Lucy was physically dragged by prison officers, left with bruises still visible 5 days later, and thrown into a wing with violent offenders. Imagine being handcuffed, marched up 3 flights of stairs, and dumped among inmates who committed real, physical crimes, all because of a tweet. And then there's the 23-hour lockdown. Lucy is confined to her cell in a high-security wing, the kind usually reserved for the most dangerous criminals. This isn't just harsh, it's practically Kafkaesque. If Kafka wrote about bureaucratic nightmares, this is one even he couldn't have dreamed up. The supposed justification? There isn't one. Lucy's crime was her words, but her punishment is something out of a dystopian fever dream. Here's where things get truly chilling. Lucy's requests for compassionate leave have been flatly denied, despite her being described as a model prisoner. Her sudden relocation within the prison smacks of political retaliation, a not-so-subtle message from the system. Step out of line, and you'll pay, not just with your freedom, but with your dignity. Richard Tice didn't just speak out, he acted. He introduced Lucy's bill, a proposed law that would allow 500 members of the public to trigger a triple-check sanity review of any sentence they deem grossly disproportionate. Will it pass? Unlikely. The establishment rarely welcomes more scrutiny. But symbolically, it's a shot across the bow, an overdue demand for accountability in a system that too often seems untouchable. Lucy's case isn't an isolated incident. It's a symptom of a broader disorder in British society. While she languishes in prison for a tweet, over 50,000 rejected asylum seekers remain in British hotels at taxpayer expense, according to Reform UK councillor David Buckley. Meanwhile, housing for British families is virtually non-existent. Buckley's own constituency built just 6 council houses in a decade, even as thousands wait for a place to live. The Home Office's response? We inherited an asylum system under exceptional pressure. Translation: not our fault, but we're doing nothing to fix it. The contrast couldn't be starker, a justice system that comes down like a ton of bricks on speech, while actual criminality, inefficiency, and bureaucratic inertia are allowed to fester. Lucy Connelly's case is about more than one woman's ordeal. It's about the direction of British society. When the state decides that controversial opinions are more dangerous than actual violence, we've crossed a line that should never be crossed in a free society. Ask yourself, does the punishment fit the crime? If your answer is no, then we've got a problem that goes far beyond Lucy Connelly. Today it's her. Tomorrow, it could be anyone with an unpopular opinion. Are we witnessing the weaponization of British justice, or is this simply accountability in action? Is Lucy Connelly a political prisoner or a cautionary tale? One thing's certain. If stories like this go untold, the line between justice and persecution will only blur further. So, what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments while you still can. If this story opened your eyes, share it, because in a world where word can put you behind bars, silence might just be the most dangerous crime of all.